Ever wonder how our world is being impacted by carbon dioxide being released into our atmosphere? Well, one effect is ocean warming due to carbon dioxide levels constantly increasing. The ocean is home to many well-known animals that include dolphins, whales, turtles, and many more. Sadly, their habitat's temperature is rising and it's on us humans. Due to the constant amounts of fossil fuels being released into the atmosphere from human activities like driving, factory productions, package shipments, airplanes, etc., this is causing Earth's temperatures to increase, including making ocean temperatures to become warmer, affecting not only us humans, but also all the animals whose habitat is the ocean. In the following images, we can see examples of the ways we release carbon dioxide into the atmosphere. As you can see, it shows factories releasing fossil fuels, vehicles letting out gas emissions, and planes emitting fuel as they soar through the sky. The amount of carbon dioxide being released into our atmosphere is becoming a huge problem. Carbon dioxide pollution is known to be the key driver of human-caused climate change. In 2020, there was an estimated 36 billion tons of carbon dioxide alone that was emitted into our atmosphere just from the constant human activities we participate in every day, like for instance transportation through vehicles. During the same time period, there was harshly 640 million tons of methane that was released into our air. Each year, we are dumping an estimated amount of about 40 gigatons of emissions of heat-trapping gases into the atmosphere just from burning fossil fuels. The NOAA is a scientific agency that tracks our atmosphere and oceans. They have an annual greenhouse gas index that tracks the concentrations of greenhouse gases that are being added to the atmosphere from human-caused emissions. It then calculates the heat emitted to our Earth's atmosphere and ocean. One piece of information that it collected was that in 1990, there was an AGGI of 1.0, and in the year of 2019, it had just increased to 1.45. As you can see in the graph, it demonstrates the evolution between 1750 to 2021 and how through the years we slowly begin releasing more and more CO2 emissions into our atmosphere, which gets worse each year after 1870. In this graph, we can see the years of all the harmful gases we are emitting into the atmosphere other than carbon dioxide. Here, we can see all the heat being released and trapped in the atmosphere, which increased by 45% since 1990. This tells us that without our own knowledge and really knowing how much we impact our environment from doing our daily human activities, we are constantly impacting our atmosphere and changing the chemistry of our world. This is causing the Earth to react in a negative way that also ends up impacting us humans. One main issue caused by rising levels of carbon dioxide is the warming of our oceans. The ocean is known for being the storer of the carbon dioxide we constantly release in our atmosphere. It's designed to store large amounts of it in order to help the Earth keep a stable climate and reduce the possibility of climate change. However, if there are increasing levels of carbon dioxide, it can alter the natural chemistry of seawater, making it more acidic. If the seawater was to become more acidic, it would make it more difficult for the organisms to survive in their habitat. With the increase of acidity, the biodiversity and productivity of the ocean's ecosystems could be affected. The interactions of our ocean and carbon dioxide is ultimately changing for the worse, and the exchange between them is intensifying. When looking through the past 200 years, our oceans have absorbed 1/3 of the CO2 that is constantly being produced by human activities. The rising concentration of carbon dioxide in the atmosphere is causing ocean surface temperatures to rise. As the greenhouse gases are trapping more and more energy from the sun, it's causing the ocean to absorb all that heat. This results in an increase of rising sea levels and sea surface temperatures, and if there are changes of chemistry in ocean temperature and its currents, this will lead to the modification of climate patterns around the world. Changes in sea surface temperatures can alter the natural storm trackings, which could cause the droughts in some areas to worsen, like for example California. It also makes growth seasons of bacteria worse, allowing that bacteria to contaminate the seafood many of us eat, causing foodborne illness and increase the risk of health effects for many people, if not all of us. If our ocean intakes too much energy and heat from the atmosphere, it can come to a tipping point where we'll see more extreme weather events, change in ocean currents, rise in sea levels and temperatures, and the melting of sea ice and ice sheets, which is home to many animals like polar bears. We need to make a change to our habits fast before this gets worse and changes our Earth's atmosphere too much, to the point where we can never go back to having a clean atmosphere. We can lower these amounts of carbon dioxide being released into the atmosphere by reducing greenhouse gas emissions. Two main contributors are electricity and transportation. Some solutions to lowering the amount of carbon dioxide released by electricity are participating in renewable energy. An example of this is installing solar panels to your home. This is a great way to limit the amount of CO2 because it harnesses the power of the wind and sun to produce electric power. A way for factories to limit CO2 is by participating in carbon capture and storage. This is a technology that captures CO2 emissions from factories and power plants while simply storing them underground. This can be known to capture an estimate of 90% of carbon emissions from a facility. Lastly, transportation is one of the many factors that release CO2, and one of the solutions that we can participate in is electric cars. Electric cars are an easy way to limit CO2 emissions because you can simply charge them at home or at a public charging station. Electric cars get powered by the same electricity that comes from local power plants, and they are also much cleaner than gasoline. The second solution involving transportation is using advanced diesels and hybrids. Diesels and hybrids use way different engines than cars with the usual combustion engines. These cars give more significant improvements to our fuel economy since they use less gas. When being compared to other cars and trucks, diesels and hybrids produce fewer greenhouse gas emissions, which is what we need to lower the pace of climate change and ocean warming. When the technologies become combined in both diesel hybrid vehicles, we can see a reduction of greenhouse gas emissions per mile by 65%.
Not only does ocean warming have a significant impact on the coral reefs, but as well as ocean acidification. The coral reef is an amazing home to many beautiful marine species such as fish, seahorses, sea turtles, and many more. Their homes are being destroyed because of us humans. Coral provides these organisms with shelter, food, and a place to protect themselves from their prey. Coral is even helpful to us too. Coral provides us with food and even medicine for us. They even protect our coastal lines from any storms or waves that are coming our way. The coral reef is a beautiful ecosystem that has been declining due to rising ocean temperatures and ocean acidification. Ocean temperatures have risen up to 1.5 degrees Fahrenheit, which is also causing ocean acidification to increase and has risen up to 25%. Coral has been losing their coloration, which can cause them to eventually die. The increase in ocean acidification reduces the availability of dissolved salts and ions, which are needed for coral to create their beautiful skeleton armors for protection and support. Ocean acidification is caused by human activities that create carbon dioxide. With these human activities, they can cause carbon dioxide levels to increase in our atmosphere. Now there is more CO2 dissolving in the ocean, but as our ocean keeps absorbing CO2, it's causing our pH levels to increase, making our ocean become more acidic. Looking at this graph, you can see that the ocean temperatures are increasing and that the pH levels are decreasing. And then the next graph, our ocean temperatures have been increasing. With our ocean temperatures rising, it causes coral to lose microscopic algae that produce food for the coral. Without this algae, the coral goes into a condition known as bleaching. According to the global coral reef monitoring temperatures have killed 40% of the world's coral reefs in under a decade. Even a spike of 1 to 2 degrees Celsius in the ocean temperatures over several weeks can cause bleaching. Even though coral can recover from bleaching only if their conditions get better before dying, it can take the coral reef's ecosystem many years to fully heal. Coral is losing its beauty because of us human and our human activities. So now it's time for us to make a change and help restore our coral reefs before it's too late. Some things we can stop doing to help coral reefs survive more could be we can drive less. Instead of driving, we could probably walk, bike, use public transportation, or carpool with others. That way, we're burning less fossil fuels. Scientists states that rising ocean temperatures are caused by burning fossil fuels to power cars and electricity that we use, which causes acidity in our ocean as well. Once trash or plastic gets into our ocean, it can not only affect the animals but as well as coral. If it covers the coral, it can block their sunlight needed for photosynthesis. The trash and plastic can even be consumed by the coral or can get entangled with it, causing it to become damaged or broken. Instead of wasting things, we need to recycle them properly, or if the item is reusable, reuse them for something else instead of throwing it away. That way it can end up in the ocean and destroy our coral. Wearing a ocean-friendly sunscreen will even help as well, because the chemicals in the sunscreen can be toxin to the coral, which can lead them to eventually die. With these simple things, we can improve our actions to save our coral reefs. It can be useful to us because without it, we won't be able to have anything to protect our coastal lines, give us medicine, food, or a home for our marine animals.